This may be one of Britain's most unusual prisoner of war camps. Behind the gates stand the original Nissen huts where over 1,200 enemy soldiers called home for years during World War II. But this isn't just another museum visit. This is the story of how enemies became neighbours, how barbed wire gave way to understanding, and how three elderly Italian men saved this place from becoming a potato crisp factory. It's early 1942. Britain is fighting for survival, and prisoners are pouring in from North African campaign. The War Office needs somewhere to house them, fast. They requisition this site from the Fitzwilliam estate in Malton, North Yorkshire. The first residents weren't even in proper buildings, just tents surrounded by barbed wire, and that was about to change dramatically. In mid-1943, the first Italian POWs arrived. 250 men who had been captured by Allied forces in North Africa. They were marched here from Oldham, and ironically, their first job was to build their own prison. These weren't just any prisoners, these were skilled craftsmen, farmers, engineers, and they built this place to last. 33 to 45 Nissen huts that could house up to 1,200 men at its peak. But here's what makes Eden Camp different from every other POW camp you've heard of. This was considered low security, no guard towers, no machine gun nests, often just a simple white picket fence separated officers from inmates. Why? Because these men weren't going anywhere. They were too far from home, and frankly, many didn't want to leave. The Italians worked local farms, addressing Britain's desperate need for agricultural labour. But by the end of 1943, something unexpected happened. Italy had switched sides. These prisoners were no longer enemies, they were allies. The Italian POWs were moved out, but Eden Camp's story was far from over. June 1944, D-Day has succeeded, and now German prisoners are flooding into British camps. The first Germans arrive at Eden Camp in mid-1944, and unlike the Italians, these men are true believers in the cause. The museum's Hut 1 takes you back to Bavaria, the birthplace of the National Socialist Party. You can hear the Führer's actual speeches echoing through these walls. It's unsettling, and it's meant to be. But here's the remarkable thing about Eden Camp. The German prisoners experienced something almost unheard of in wartime. Humanity. German prisoners in British camps had a death rate of just 0.03%. Compare that to the horror stories from other theatres of war. These men had better living quarters, modern conveniences, and most importantly, they were treated with respect. Like the Italians before them, the Germans worked the local farms, but the British had another objective: re-education. These men needed to understand what they'd been fighting for, and more importantly, what they'd been fighting against. By late 1947, restrictions had eased so much that prisoners could leave camp unescorted, visit local gas and cinemas, even attend church services. Some formed relationships with British women and even married them. Think about that for a moment. Men who had been shooting at each other just years before were now sharing Sunday dinner with British families. The last German prisoner didn't leave Eden camp until early 1949, 4 years after the war had officially ended. Some didn't want to go home. Germany was in ruins, divided, uncertain. Here they had work, purpose, and surprisingly friendship.
Take them off first. You're wearing a hat, take it off calmly but quickly. Always hold your breath so that you don't take gas into your lungs. Take your gas mask by the side strap.
I've been on the street both nights on one job or another, but I've only had 8 weeks on this show from Calvert and Joe. All the people come from a nearby block of flats. There's a family.
After the war, Eden Camp served as an agricultural holiday camp, then a storage facility before being abandoned for 30 years. The huts were overgrown, forgotten, and slowly rotting away. Then in 1985, local businessman Stan Johnson bought the site. His plan? A potato crisp factory. But fate had other plans.
Now with the company and woman, we found another lady, a lady with my hair. She's got a young husband, and he's got some her own clothes. And while he's away fighting...
3 elderly Italian men approached Johnson, who were former Eden Camp POWs who wanted to see their old home one last time. That conversation changed everything. Johnson realised he wasn't just sitting on old buildings, he was sitting on history. On March 21st, 1987, Eden Camp opened as a world's first modern history-themed museum. In Hut 3, the U-boat menace, you will be experiencing life inside a German U-boat under attack in the North Atlantic. It's dark, cramped, and it smells exactly like you'd expect a submarine to smell. Hut 5 recreates the Blitz. The smoke, the sound of bombs falling, the stench of burning buildings. This isn't just looking at history, you're actually living it. Hut 8 will tell you the story of Britain's unsung heroes, the women, the land army girls, the factory workers, the nurses. While the men were fighting abroad, these women were fighting the war at home. At Hut 9, this building has some personal connection. This is in honour to some of the bravest men of the war, RAF bomb disposal. These men faced death every single day, defusing unexploded bombs in London streets while the Blitz raged overhead. Each of these 33 huts tells a different story. The home front, rise of the Führer, prisoner of war life, and even the career of war. There's a reproduction V1 flying bomb, exhibits on human torpedoes, and a Sleeping Beauty motorised submersible canoe. But what makes Eden Camp truly special isn't the exhibits, it's the human stories preserved within these walls.
Nazi planes overhead. You will see the beaches of Dunkirk under heavy fire. Our own guns reply. You will see the calm waters dotted with hundreds of men as they wade or swim out to the ships. Here in pictures is the triumph that turned a major military disaster into a miracle of deliverance.
The Chapel of Remembrance honours all who lost their lives in conflict, but it also represents something else, the possibility of reconciliation, of former enemies becoming friends. prisoners who lived here weren't monsters. They were young men, far from home, caught up in a war they didn't start. The guards weren't cruel jailers. They were doing their duty while maintaining their humanity. Eden Camp proves that even in war's darkest hours, decency can survive. Enemies can become neighbours. Hatred can give way to understanding. Today, thousands of visitors walk through these huts every year. School children learn about the war through immersive experiences the textbooks could never provide. Veterans find their stories preserved and honoured. And somewhere, perhaps the spirits of those Italian POWs who saved this place from becoming a crisp factory are smiling. Eden Camp isn't just a museum. It's a testament to the complexity of war and the possibility of peace. It's proof that history isn't just about dates and battles, it's about people. The huts that once housed enemies now educate allies. The camp that was built for division now promotes understanding. That's the real victory of Eden Camp. Not that it survived the war, but that it transformed it into something beautiful.
Like emergency seamen, their metal dress is an old suit of civilian clothes, living in the equipment of their service. Safety helmets and pit boots are part of their kit.
Oh, it's the smoke. Smoke. To ensure their stories are never forgotten, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment on what historical site you would like me to investigate next. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.